Hi there, my name's John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. Welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text, we tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the third Sunday after Pentecost, and it's for the narrative lectionary, and I'm going to take these off now. They're a little tight. It's for the third Sunday after Pentecost and for the narrative lectionary, and we are still in the series of the Ten Commandments. Last week we talked about how the Ten Commandments, one of the purpose of the Ten Commandments is giving us a better way of living, that the people of God who have been enslaved by the Egyptians for year after year after year after year after year after year, to where they knew nothing else but that. Now they have this. They have to live as free people, as people with only one God, with neighbors, with stuff, and so God gives them in the Ten Commandments a better way of living. This week, we're looking at in the way of seeing God. But this week, I'm looking at the Ten Commandments as a way of and using the strange glasses. The Ten Commandments give us a better way of seeing our neighbors and seeing the people that are around us and seeing that. The first couple of commandments, the first three commandments, are about our relationship with the divine, with the Creator, and then the other commandments are about our relationship with one another, and it gives us a way of seeing the world, seeing our neighbors in that way. Last week was really the theme again was about seeing. We're using the nightlight, but this week it's the commandments give us a tool of seeing our neighbors in a different light. Our neighbors might have different stuff than us, which is completely foreign to the Israelites, because they didn't have stuff, or the stuff they had was very they were slaves, so they had. There wasn't the idea of coveting what your neighbor had. It was ridiculous, and the way of stealing from your neighbor, or all of those things. And then how do we live with one another? How do we see our neighbors in the light and the love of God? It just gives us a better way of living. And I hesitated there because one of the things I'm saying, how do we see our neighbors in the light of God? And I do believe that even when they were in Egypt and they were enslaved, they saw each other, their brothers and sisters, as the love of God. But they get to see God has freed them, and they're in a new relationship in a new way, and redefining how they live with one another. A lot of stuff that I wouldn't put in the children's sermon, but the idea that the Ten Commandments then say, all right, how do we live with one another? How do I see my neighbor how do I see my neighbor in new ways? For us in the Christian church, then we can say, how does Christ give us a new lens? How does Christ give us a new way of seeing our neighbors? When Christ treats one with love and compassion and forgiveness and grace, then we are called to see our neighbors and treat them in the same way. And when we do that, we can be looked at a little strange when we walk out and see each other with new glasses, new ways of seeing. People can go, what's this all about? And so God gives us this new way of seeing one another. So that's the direction, the springboard I'm going with the children's sermon. Hope that can be useful for you as you work on your own children's sermon, and can be a springboard for you. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a blessed and fantastic week.